Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back, dear students. We had an interesting topic which was about money in our last lesson. So we are going to go back to our unit, which is Unit 2, which is about influential people. We had our conversation lesson. Now the conversation lesson, which was about, we have a discussion between Ahmed and Ibrahim. Now we can see that there were many options that Ahmed had, and which one of them was he considering? We have the phrases that are used for discussion, as we have discussed one by one in the conversation part. We had also the phrases, the different phrases of real talk. Like for example, go around in circles, getting cold feet. We have here driving people crazy, cash, don't mind, would you put your money aside for a rainy day? And then we came to the task that I asked you to prepare for, which is your turn to discuss using the discussing options about anything that you would like. So we have, of course, the discussion is going to be between you and one of your friends. I did my homework, which is also using the phrases, and I added also the forms, the grammar forms that we learned in Unit 2. So I want you just to follow with me in the conversation that I chose. Now I have a conversation between the two boys, Umar and Faisal. Now we have a conversation. Just put in mind that the conversation is about cars. I have the discussing options and also the grammar forms. So all in one, you can apply them. We have here, I heard someone's getting a new car. Congratulations. Thanks. Wish I could just decide though. I've been going around in circles for weeks. I used to decide quickly on things. So Faisal is going to buy a new car and he's going around in circles. We have your Umar says, what would you think about buying the new sports car? Well, I've got enough cash, but I'm getting cold feet about the sports car. So he can't decide, he got cold feet. We have here, Umar says, or actually Faisal, I could always sell it, but if I don't like it. But then again, what's the use of buying if I'm going to sell? You're right, you must think carefully what the alternative would be. Personally, if I had the cash, I would save it for a rainy day. I don't need a new car. Faisal said, you drive me crazy every time you say that. How can you not need a new car? Yours is very old. I don't mind driving the old car. I'm used to driving it. You are right, but at the same time, why not buy a new one? So what have you decided? I thought about a new truck. On the other hand, the sports car isn't a bad idea. Now you are driving me crazy. So you can see that I applied all the phrases, the real talk phrases, the discussion options, and I used the grammar forms in the discussion. Moving on, we had our listening lesson, which was also about money, but we listened to the history of money. Now we did the exercise in the book. We ordered them. We have bartering, cowrie shells, inexpensive metal coins, coins made of valuable metals, paper money, and electronic money. Now this is the text, the listening text that we listened to, but there are specific words that I want you to read with me. Now here I'm going to highlight these words. I want you just to read this word here. Instead, people used, how do you pronounce it? Used to. Used to. Now put in mind how you pronounce the word. We have another one. We have here, you can read from the start. We have here something of value that they possessed. And we have here another word. Let's complete. for something they needed. What did you notice about the 4 words or the 3 words that I chose here? I chose words that had an ed. So we have your used to, possessed, needed, they all end with the ed. But did you pronounce them all the same? Or is there a kind of difference between them? Now we're going to complete. We have here, try to read this word. We have here, this kind of trade was, how do you pronounce it? Called. Called. We have here, what if someone had something to trade but no one wanted? Is it the same when you say called or wanted? Actually, both of these words, they end with an ed, but did you pronounce it the same? Called. We have here the second one, wanted. Called, wanted. Also, we can see that we have this ed word. How do you pronounce it? We have here produced. Pronounce it again. We have produced. And we have also appeared. Now, when I pronounced produced, is it the same as appeared? All of them have the ed, but the pronunciation is different. Yes, you have your chance. We have exchanged, and we have called, exchanged and called. Now, actually, they are the same. How about this word? Exchanged, called, converted. So there is a slight difference, and we have here expected. So the 2 verbs at the beginning, are they pronounced the same as the 2 other? Now, what did you notice? Of course, I talked about the ed here in my examples. So how many sounds, when we said produced, appeared, wanted, how many pronunciations do we have the ed? So we have here, we're going to see that the objective of our pronunciation lesson is to differentiate between different pronunciations of ed. Now you can see that I prepared a table here. You can see that we have 3 columns. Now in English, the past tense ending ed has 3 different pronunciations. You can see that one time it is pronounced d, and the other time it is pronounced id, and the third time it is pronounced like a t sound. So basically it depends on the ending of the word. Okay, so we have here, let's say for example, we have here used. There is the z sound, so we have here used. We have called, ending with an l sound. We have appeared, the r sound, and we have here exchanged, exchanged. So you can practice here, and now you know why is there a difference. It depends on the ending of the word. So we have here a direct d, but the other part, or the second one, if the last letter is a d or a t, there is the id sound. So we have here needed, wanted, converted, and we have the last kind. We have here the last letter is going to be the ch, the sh, the p, the k, the f, and here you notice that it is pronounced like a t. So possessed, produced, and worked. So now you know that there are 3 different pronunciations for the 2 same letters. Other words that end with ed, we have here, I want you to read this word. We have this one is, read this with me, we have the word renowned. We have also complied with. Renowned and complied, they are the same. And we have a third word, which is, try to read it, we have implemented. Implemented. So here I am reading it or pronouncing them actually very slowly, but if it is a normal speed, we have here renowned, implemented, and we have here complied with. Now actually these three words, they are new. Do you know the meanings of these words? These three words are going to pass by us in the vocabulary building lesson. So you will see these words in the reading on pages 26 and 27. You are going to match the words with their meanings on our page now, which is page number 25. So we are going to start with our vocabulary building lesson. Our objectives are to give the meaning of new vocabulary from the context, establish the meaning of new vocabulary in relation to their synonyms and antonyms, answer questions and state the definitions, form sentences using new vocabulary. So we are going to start with our lesson here. Now you can see that we have 8 new words. Now the first step, as I explained in Unit 1, we are going to read the words and see if any are familiar. So very quickly, we have here this word. You can try to read it. Of course, we passed by this one, which is renowned. We have the second one, comply with, which I turned into the past, complied with. We have hurdle. You can see that this one is a little bit heavy when you pronounce it hurdle. So just put this in mind when we pass by it or discuss it. We have also implement. We have also, read this word, we have founder. We have after that endowment. And then we have the word dispute. And our last word, which is assets. So we have here these 8 words. Do you know any of these words? So if you know 1 or 2, this is great. You can concentrate on the rest. If you don't know, no problem, we are learning. So we're going to move to the second step, which is to read the meaning and try to relate. Now we do have the matching exercise in the book, as we mentioned. Now we have the meanings. We have A, known, respected, and admired. We have B, to put into practice or to make changes. We have C, things of value that are owned by a person or an organization. We have D, amount of money that is given as income to an organization, group, charity, or project. We have E, an obstacle or a problem or a difficulty. We have F, strong disagreement or argument. We have G, be in accordance, agreement with, or obey. And we have H, the person or people that establish an organization or a company. Now, this is a good way if you are not sure of a word, you think that you know the meaning. Now you can relate with the meanings and maybe you can be sure by this way. If not, still, we are going on with our lesson. The third is to go through the meaning and the context. Now, the question or the directions that we have in the book is that we are going to pass by these words in the reading. Now, our reading is going to be about Sheikh Salman al-Rajhi. We are going to take him, inshallah, in our next lesson. And also, I am going to introduce you to another character who is Mr. Ahmed. The fourth way to discuss these words is to ask a classmate and discuss together. So sometimes you benefit from each other, symbiotic relationships. We have here, fifth way is to get hints from pictures, synonyms, antonyms, and explanations. Now we're going to do all this at the same time, and it's going to be very easy, inshallah. So let's see, meet Mr. Ahmed. We are going to pass the words. I'm going to give you examples by talking about Mr. Ahmed. Now we have here the word renowned. I want to relate to Mr. Ahmed here. Now I can say that we have here Mr. Ahmed is a renowned businessman. Now I'm talking about him. You can see from the pictures here, you can understand the idea of being renowned. I am describing. This is an adjective here. So we have here close meaning, famous, distinguished. Okay, so we have here, but note that we have here the word famous. It can be good famous or sometimes not very good, but renowned means in a positive matter. That's why I'm going to also relate to Sheikh Salman al-Rajhi. In our reading, we are going to pass by Sheikh Salman bin Abdulaziz al-Rajhi, the world-renowned philanthropist and winner of the 2012 King Faisal International Prize for Service to Islam. So I'm talking about him, showing that he is famous. So we have here the meanings. You can just relate to the meanings. And we have here renowned. We're going to relate to a, which is known, respected, and admired. Moving on to the second word, we have here the word founder. Now, founder here, when you find something, it doesn't mean that it is lost. Sometimes you start from the beginning, as you have in the picture, and you are the one who started this. So I can give you more here. Now we can say that Mr. Ahmed, a lot of people know him to be the founder of many successful projects. He started these projects. So which means that he established, or he is the maker. Also, we can say about Sheikh Salman al-Rajhi that he is the founder of Al-Wataniya agriculture projects. So we have here, this is a successful project in our country, and he is the founder. He started it. So when we go to our exercise, you can also just look at the meanings here. And I want to relate to a founder here, which is number 5. I'm going to match it with H. So we have here the person or people that establish an organization or a company. Now you have the idea that I want from you. I applied to very quickly. You are going to guess the rest with me. We have here, let's see, assets. Now we have here, you can see that there is a car, money, houses, not just one house. It may be more. So some people, they own not just in their country, but around the world. We can say, for example, Mr. Ahmed, he also has assets all over the world, which made him even more famous. He has many things, he owns them. So we have here the word means property or estates. Okay, so we have here his belongings. Also, we can relate to Sheikh Salman al-Rajhi in our reading lesson and say that having experienced extreme poverty earlier in life, al-Rajhi chose to donate and distribute all his assets to gain peace of mind. So this is an interesting fact, just to put in mind, that we're going to discuss, inshallah, in our reading lesson. But now we know that he has assets. Moving on to the exercise, you can see that we have here the word assets. We're going to see, we have number 8, and match it. What do you think when I said houses, money, cars? We can relate it to C, which is things of value in general. We have the word endowment. Now, when you read the word endowment, now endowment here, you can just relate it to another word, very close in pronunciation. We can say down. Now, when you give money or charity to needy people, they are usually people who are in a lower state than yourself. So sometimes even if we need the money, we give it to someone who needs it even more. So we have here the word endowment here. We can talk about Mr. Ahmed, going back to him, and saying, in addition, he personally supervises monthly endowments. Now put in mind that we have here monthly. It's not just a thing that happens one time, but on a monthly basis. So we have here endowment. We can say that it is like a donation or a grant. Of course, also Sheikh Salman al-Rajhi is known for many of his endowments, but here we have in the reading a close word, which is charity. So what is the difference here? Going back to the exercise, we have endowment is going to be 6. You can just match when I say that I'm giving needy people, what do I give? So here I have D, which is amount of money that is given as income to an organization, group, charity, or project, which means that it is given in a more formal way. Moving on with the words, we have here the word hurdle. Now, when I pronounced it at the very beginning and I said it is like a heavy word because the R is a heavy sound. So hurdle, some people, they face hurdles. Now you can see, for example, like this object here, this is actually what I call a hurdle. Now it can be an object or it can be a meaning, a figure of speech. So we have here Mr. Ahmed. Mr. Ahmed has a high reputation. He is known to face hurdles very calmly and quickly takes action. So it is important when you deal or face or confront problems, you deal with them in a calm way and a calm manner. So we do face hurdles all the time. Now these hurdles, we can say that hurdles are difficulties or obstacles. So we have here these difficulties or obstacles are what we have, or similar to the meaning that we have in Sheikh Salman Rajhi's reading. We have here founding the bank, which is now the world's biggest Islamic leader, was not hurdle-free. Was it easy to do? No, it was not hurdle-free. So which means that he did face some obstacles or difficulties. So going back to our exercise, we have here the word hurdle, number 3. We can see that hurdle here, it means we have the rest. You can just read very quickly. And to agree with me, we have here E. The answer E, which is an obstacle, a problem, or as we mentioned, a difficulty. Moving on with the word, we have here dispute. Now this man, he doesn't look very happy. So what is the meaning of dispute? Mr. Ahmed, we can say that he rarely has any disputes with anyone. So dispute here is a noun. He rarely has disputes. We have here dispute. We can relate it to the word disagree. From dispute, disagree, or argue. Now also we have here in our reading lesson, the word, it passes by us. We can say that Sheikh Salman Rajhi distributed the rest of his wealth to his children in order to avoid potential disputes. He didn't want his children to fight, so he wanted them to be happy and he wanted to try to avoid these disputes. We have here the word dispute. Number 7 goes with, yes, as we mentioned, we have here F, which is strong disagreement or argument. Moving to our next word, we have the word implement. Now, implement is an unusual word. We do not use it all the time, but we can use it from now on. We have here Mr. Ahmed, going back to him. We have here, he has many employees who make sure that work is implemented as he planned. You can relate the word implement with the word plan. When you have a plan, you implement the plan. Now here we have implemented, which means to apply or to perform as synonyms. Also we have here Sheikh Salman Rajhi. He has a Rajhi bank, which was implemented in United Kingdom. So yes, we as a start, when he first founded the bank, it was planned, he had his plan in Saudi Arabia, but first it was implemented in the United Kingdom. This is something interesting just to put in mind for our reading lesson. Now going to our match, we have here the word implement, which is number 4. Now you can see the choices, they are now less. So implement here, yes, we can relate it to be, to put into practice and to make changes. And we have the last word, comply with. Now comply with, now from the word with, means that you are going along with something. So we have here Mr. Ahmed in our last example, his workers happily comply with what he decides because he's a great leader. So some leaders, because they are great leaders, we comply with the rules and what they do. We have here comply with means that you are happy and you do something as instructed. You do not object to it. So we have here also in the last part, we can see that they were granted permission to establish a bank, the Al-Rajhi Bank, which is known to comply with the religious tenets such as the ban on interest. So we have here the last word, comply with. Number 2, of course, we have the last answer is going to be G, to be in accordance, agreement, and obey. So we have here, these are the words that we have in our vocabulary building lesson. Now, remember, always relate, use the words more often. So as much as you practice these words, as much as they will be familiar and you will not forget them. So our outline for the day is the pronunciation. We studied how to pronounce the ED, identified the different sounds of the ED, and we moved on to the vocabulary building. As knowledge, we recognized, recalled different meanings from previous backgrounds. We understood from the content and connected with synonyms and antonyms, which is the comprehension part of our lesson. And as the evaluation, we communicated using new vocabulary and connected to definition. We have finished our exercise for the vocabulary building. I gave you a very interesting introduction for the reading lesson, which is about Sheikh Salman al-Rajhi. So be prepared and be ready.